it's not gonna switch automatically the slides. Great. So Shavuot, what is it all about this holiday? So first of all, this is the slide we had also in Passover. We can put it in every holiday. We said that in the Hebrew language, in the Hebrew tradition, a holiday is called Chag, and Chag in Hebrew is something that goes around in circles. Chag b'ma'agalim, meaning in the circle of the year we have the different holidays. And when do they happen? Every time when it originally something happened. For example, in Passover, there was the Exodus going out of Egypt and the parting of the sea. If and only if, maybe it was a huge event, but if the special light and energy of this event does not come again each year during this time, it's not made into a holiday. It's not about remembering things that were. It's always only if it's relevant for us in this time and this day, they make it into a holiday. So for every different holiday, there was a specific special event that occurred, and that its special light and energy comes to visit again every year. And there's we can do our vessels to tune into it, to accept it, the gifts of it, the light of it, and understanding what is it about and what arrives helps. So what is Shavuot about? So who knows what happened in Shavuot? Hint. This is the giving of the Torah in Mount Sinai. So just about 50 days ago, we did the session for Passover, and exactly 50 days after the Exodus, going out from Egypt, they arrived to Mount Sinai and got the Torah. So this was a huge event. It's like in the Jewish tradition, it's like the wedding of the Israeli people and God when He gave us the Torah. And sometimes they do it like this, but according to tradition, there were the 12 different tribes. They were parked around Mount Sinai, and this is the temple. And in Shavuot, there was the giving of the Torah in Mount Sinai. So this was the great event that we celebrate in Shavuot. Now, in the Jewish tradition, back when we had the temple in Jerusalem, we had 3 of the holidays that everybody had to go to the temple to do a pilgrimage. So one of them is Shavuot, the 2 other is Pesach and Sukkot. So everybody went to the temple, and in Shavuot, you don't just go to the temple and do the special ritual of the holiday. One of the names of Shavuot is called Chag HaBikurim. Bikurim is the first fruits, like the first one, like the word Bechor in Hebrew, it's like the firstborn. So the Bikurim, you take the first fruits, like if you have a garden with trees and fruits, so whenever you see the first fruit that is blooming on the tree, so you like tie a string next to it, this was the first one, and when it's time to go to the temple, you take the first, usually the first is the one that you like the most. So you put in the basket and you go to the temple and bring in the first fruits, the Bikurim. So this will also happen in Shavuot. And like many holidays in the Jewish tradition, there is the way that the religious people celebrate it, but there's also, it works together, the Israeli way. So one of the holidays that became very Israeli and became a bit of a different character, it's like in the kibbutz, mainly kibbutzes, most of you probably know, it's like communal villages in Israel. They were traditionally based on agriculture, like a communal communities. So Shavuot was a big holiday, and they took out everything and also did parades and shows. So to this day, Shavuot is a big celebration in many of the kibbutzim. So you can go find the kibbutz where it has this. They still have the parades and the celebrations and bringing out the fruits. You see the color of Shavuot is white. We'll talk a bit about this in a second, why exactly. And also they also bring sometimes the newborns. It's also the bikurim that we have. So newborns, see there's also a goat here somehow. So so newborn babies also. So in the kibbutzim also they celebrate Shavuot in their own manner. Another name of Shavuot is Chag HaKatzir, the holiday of harvest, because again, many holidays in the Jewish traditions have also agricultural meaning, the special time of the year where it happens. So Shavuot is always the time of the harvest, just now before the summer kicks in. So they harvest everything and they put it, the wheat mainly, and they put it wheat. They put it in the field to dry up during the summer, and then they collect it in Sukkot. Sukkot is the holiday of gathering just before the rain starts. So they put it to dry out during the summer. So this is also, so Shavuot, also called Chag HaBikurim, first fruits, also Chag HaKatzir, holiday of harvest. What else? So why is it called Shavuot? Shavuot in Hebrew, Shavua is a week. Shavuot is weeks, the holiday of weeks. How come weeks? Because we have exactly 7 weeks that we're counting since Passover and into Shavuot. It's like 7 weeks that we're counting, and it's not just 7 weeks that you wait until it gets there in the calendar. There is a special tradition which is called the Sfirat HaOmer. The Omer is something that you do just after Leil HaSeder in Pesach, and from that time you count exactly 49 days. The 50th day is Shavuot, from Passover to Shavuot. So you have 7 weeks, and each of the 7 weeks you have 7 days, and you have to count each and every day. It's like the Omer challenge. If you miss even one day, it's like it's not complete, you know. So you try to not to miss any day. And why did they do it 7? What's the thing about 7 weeks? And each week is comprised of 7 days. So this is according to the Kabbalah, the mystic tradition of Judaism. This is the tree of life. You have the 10 Sefirot, and the preparation of the vessel for the delight of the Torah of Shavuot, it's related to the bottom 7 ones. Okay, we won't go into this, but you have Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet. Each one symbolizes something also in the person itself. For example, Chesed, it's about giving, loving, kindness. Gvura, it's about being fierce and putting boundaries. So each week there is a special different trait that you work on. And for each week, you have all the different 7 ones. So the first week, which is Chesed, so you have Chesed in Chesed, Gvura in the Chesed, Tiferet in. So each one is a special trait. So just for example, Chesed in the Chesed, it's like unconditional love. And Gvura in the Chesed, it's how to put boundaries in the love, because sometimes it's not good to love without any boundaries. So if you go to the second week, and you have, for example, the week of Gvura, Chesed Sheba Gvura, is okay. So if I put boundaries and I'm being fierce, how do I do it lovingly? Okay, so Hod, it's about being thankful, and Yesod is about creating connections and relating to people in a proper way. Malchut is about being humility and things like that. So different traits, but most people don't do that. Most people, the basic thing you have to do is just to count the Omer. So you say each day, today is the 10th day, for example, in the Omer, which is 1 week and 3 days. So this is, you have just to say this every day from Passover and Shavuot. And this is something that also prepares the vessel for the light of Shavuot and the Torah. So what is this Torah anyway that we got in Mount Sinai? So according to the Jewish tradition, the Torah, yes, it's a bunch of books, but internally it's like the ancient wisdom of creation. It explains what is this creation, why things work the way they are, the different elements, and how everything works together, and what's the proper way to live in this creation as human beings. So the Torah actually, more practically, so we have the written Torah, okay, which are the 24 books of the Bible. It's called the Tanakh that we got. So like the 5 books of the Torah, the most basic ones, these are the 5 books. And then we have the books of the prophets, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim, like Psalm, which is Tehillim, by the songs by King David. So this is the written Torah, which is written in books. Okay, so you have this in a single book called the Tanakh, the Bible, which has all the 24 books. But you also have the rabbinic tradition of Judaism, which is the oral Torah. According to tradition, it was also given to Moses on Mount Sinai, but it was not allowed to written down, because when you write down something and somebody reads it, he can misinterpret it. This can be only passed from teacher to disciple. So this was passed along the ages. It was not allowed to written down, but it was put in writing eventually 2,000 years ago, when they saw either we write this down or it's going to be lost, okay, before they went out to exile for 2,000 years. So they wrote it down. This is the Mishnah that they wrote, and after that, on top of the Mishnah, they wrote the Talmud. So this is things that we're not touching this anymore. It was written 2,000 years ago. So on top of that, people have additional writings, but the basic, it's this. When you hear people are learning Torah, so this is the main thing that they learn: the 24 books of the written, and mainly this oral Torah of the Talmud. This is how the pages of the Talmud looks like. They're like 2,800 pages. Some people actually know this by heart, so they actually learn this. It's the ancient wisdom coming from Mount Sinai and through the wise people in the rabbinic tradition of the ages of Judaism. So this is the Torah. So in Shavuot, actually, there's another tradition that on the night of Shavuot, okay, when Shavuot enters, so according to tradition, you do a tikkun leil Shavuot. A tikkun means to fix in Hebrew. Why do you need to fix? Because again, according to tradition, when in the morning of Shavuot, when the Mount Sinai was all shaking and the Torah was about to be given, the people of Israel were sleeping. They knew the Torah is about to come, but and Moses had to wake them up. So we do like a tikkun. Okay, this time from that day onwards, we're going to stay awake all night, and we're going to be awake when it arrives. So this is tikkun Shavuot. You do it all night. They stay like almost every synagogue. They have this. People are studying their Torah all night. And you have this book called Tikkun Shavuot, and in this you have like parts from all the 24 books of the Torah, and from the oral Torah, and the Zohar, which is the Kabbalic tradition. It takes like 4 or 5 hours to go through it, to read it. People read it through the night, but different people have different traditions, do different things, and this is the religious way of doing the Tikkun Leil Shavuot, but this is how the Western Wall in Jerusalem looks in the morning, the sunrise of Shavuot after the Tikkun Leil Shavuot, if they do the Shavuot night study. But there are different ways to do this, like with the Bikurim, how the kibbutz took it and made it more Israeli. So Tikkun Shavuot, you have many different gatherings, the different styles, different people teaching things which are sometimes almost unrelated really to Torah and Shavuot, but they do this, and it's really nice. And you have it also in English and in Russian, in every language you want, and different types. So so if you want to catch something that you find that you can relate to, you can definitely do it. This Shavuot night Torah study, or any kind of study. There are lectures, there are conversations in groups and things like that. So many things happen during this night of Shavuot, Tikkun Shavuot. Another thing, we said that the color of Shavuot is white, and usually in Shavuot we eat dairy products. It's very good for sales of all the dairy manufacturers. They make a big thing out of Shavuot, a lot bigger than it was originally in the tradition. But either way, dairy products is very common to have to eat during Shavuot. Different reasons for this. Traditionally, one of them, they said that the Torah is like mother's milk, like breastfeeding. It's pure, giving, loving, nourishing. It brings life, like milk, and it's just grace. So this is one of the reasons. And one more thing, last one, I think that from the 24 books of the Torah, there is one special book which is related to Shavuot. And if from the other books you just read parts of it, this one you read in full during the night. It's called Megillat Ruth, the book of Ruth. And this book tells a story of a Moabite woman called Ruth, Ruth HaMoaviyah. and just tell the story how she joined the Israeli people. She was not Israeli, she was not Jewish, and how she came to Israel and accepted God and the Jewish faith, Jew by choice. And they read this during Shavuot. Why? Different reasons. First of all, it's the same time. The story takes place during this time, the time of harvest. It's how she was harvesting, and there she met Boaz, the dude in this tale. So it's the same time. And also because she converted to Judaism and accepted the Torah. So again, it's about the Torah. And also she became not just a Jewish, she became the grandmother, great grandmother of King David, okay, which passed away in Shavuot. Shavuot is the special time of King David, who wrote the book of Psalms. And so we also read the book of Ruth during Shavuot. And this is basically it. The main things I want to talk about in Shavuot, but one last thing. At the time of Great Division, there is a big balagan during these days in Israel. There are different tribes, okay, and they clash together on different subjects. But in Shavuot, when they parked at the bottom of Mount Sinai, in the Torah it says "Vayichan Sham Israel," which is in singular. Everything there is in plural because it's many people, but this is in singular. Say, why is it in singular? And then they explain that why? Because they were as one person with one heart. Okay, like all the millions of people that were around Mount Sinai were as one. So let's hope we're heading there. This Shavuot will something that unite us, and again will be as one person with one heart. So this is for me. Thanks for your time. And if you have any questions about what we covered here about Shavuot, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions?
Okay,
No.
guys. Let's give it another few seconds.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Now let's see. They said if there is a movie that we can recommend, so I'll have to think about it. If there is a movie, it's going to have to be related to this. Okay, so I know there's the movies about the parting of the sea and the Exodus from Egypt, but I have to think if there's something specifically about the event in Shavuot.
Thanks.
Okay.
That would be great. Yeah.
Okay, great guys. So happy Shavuot. Enjoy your time. If you happen to catch Tikkun al Shavuot or something or Shavuot in the kibbutz, it's gonna be nice. And of course, we also do a holiday feast, dinner with the family during the evening time, and then after that during the daytime. It's always a family time during the holidays, and dairy products will probably be served. So thanks, guys. Enjoy Shavuot.
Thank you very much, Ran. I learned a lot.
Sure.
Thank you.
Really.
Great.
Thank you
Happy
very
to
much.
hear.
Thank
Happy
you. It was
Sameach.
interesting.
Great. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. Happy Shavuot. Bye-bye.